Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well and staying safe during this time. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Like I said, thank you so much for checking me out. If you haven't done so, please make sure to hit that subscribe button just right below the video. Cool, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And if you're returning, welcome back. Thanks again for your support. I truly do appreciate having you here.
Judge Torres ordered 3 documents unsealed now. 1721. And the notice of Brad Garlinghouse's deposition in the SEC formal investigation. 1794, a Chris Larson email string, and 1795, a Brad Garlinghouse email. Crazy cars outside. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that anyway. These are below. And so the only reason I'm quickly sharing it here is not because this is the craziest breaking news you have to get out of bed for right now to watch. No, it's just to quickly give you guys some insights into what has just been shared, as these are the specific documents that, again, these parties cannot be hiding. And now it's mostly from Ripple's side here. Again, let's quickly see again. 3 documents: the notice of Brad Garlinghouse's deposition in the SEC investigation, which I guess is quite relevant. Again, the notice of Brad Garlinghouse's deposition, meaning when somebody got notified, I'm assuming Brad himself, that he was going to get questioned in the SEC investigation before the lawsuit, I'm guessing. Then the Chris Larson email string potentially about that. It's 179 though, so I guess it's a different thing altogether. And a Brad Garlinghouse email. So if we just take a little bit of a look at that, we can see these is 13 pages long right here. If it could load, I think it will load in just a second, guys. But by the way, if you enjoy the Ripple v SEC lawsuit updates, or generally speaking, if you're an XP holder, make sure you press that like button. Before I actually go on, I want to quickly show you guys a little funny thing here, which just had me giggling for the last couple of minutes. I want to quickly share this for all of y'all. Alright, now to be honest, I'm not sure if there's copyrighted music in there, but it's too funny to not do this.
This is where we hold them! This is where we fight!
I'll just keep it at that with the sound, and then you guys can watch the rest, the part of the meme right here a little bit. It's just, I don't want to get copyright strike down, so I don't want to do too much about it. But it's generally speaking, you understand already the two fronts against each other, right? The Bitcoin maxis and the XRP guys here. Now, yesterday I showed you all a video where Moon Carl and Da Vinci were basically giggling a little bit about XRP going to 0. I don't want to showcase that here again, as I'm not a type of person to kind of throw that stuff up. If you think it's going to 0, completely fine. I don't really understand why we are all like this, of saying one is going to 0, the other one is going to win. We'll have to see at the end of the day. Nobody really knows. Critical point. But I think the video was rather funny, and I didn't want to share it, so I'm gonna quickly retweet that. If you want to watch the full thing with sound, make sure you check out my Twitter at @TheDustTVC, and let's move right along. So, what was said in here, right? Dear Mr. Solomon, the enclosed subpoena has been issued pursuant to a formal order entered by the SEC. And again, what I believe it just says right here is that they were going to question him. Yeah. I have enclosed a subpoena for testimony and documents issued to your client, Brad Garlinghouse, in connection with the above referenced investigation. This was a couple of months, about 7 months before the lawsuit-ish, 8 months. The enclosed subpoena requires that your client appear for testimony. Okay. That's document number 1. Document number 2 was filed under seal and has right now been recovered. It is from Chris Larson to Art. Who's Art? Hi, Carlos. Maybe Art is Carlos? Thanks for the email and hope you're doing great. On this end, we've never been more excited by developments in the blockchain space. Industry continues to mature and institutions are increasingly seeing the technologies as essential to the future of finance. The FB announcement certainly helped underscore this. If one of the largest communities on earth sees this as a key to their future, it becomes a huge validation point and motivator to both incumbents and fintechs. Now, from Ripple's perspective, we couldn't be more excited about cross-border payments using blockchain digital assets like XRP over Swift. The recent MoneyGram announcement is a great example of incumbents agreeing with our vision. Our view is to grow at full speed into these huge opportunities. We're hiring as fast as we can. At the same time, funds like Spring, which is Ripple's funded Spring, where they put a lot of money into. By the way, that's our XP holdings from the ones that are right now in escrow, basically. That's kind of what they put into Spring. Are investing in new additional verticals and teams. There are many. One of the great advantages of XRP ecosystem is that it doesn't require mining to validate transactions. Gives XRP ecosystem a huge advantage over a lot of advantages. As such, XP resources, including those by Ripple, Coil, which just announced an investment in Imgur founders, and the many other large holders can be used to build the ecosystem, new companies, new verticals, teams, developers, etc. In this way, XP sales should be seen equivalent to proof of work sales by miners, except that the former is constructive while mining is wasteful. Okay, so the reason I'm guessing that this is sealed is because Chris Larson here kind of defines what it means to sell XRP for the foundation, and the foundation here being the XP Ledger Foundation / Ripple, because in the way he compares it, he's saying in the way that Ripple right now is selling their XRP, since there's no proof of work to gain the XRP and they're already out there and there's no wasteful mining process, they're basically selling it in the same pressure-y way as the miners in Bitcoin would have sold it. And there's some validity to that claim in the sense that there's no incentive to actually be a validator in the XP Ledger network, so to speak. So there's really no incentive for people to sell in that first regard. But since Ripple, I guess, has a lot of say over it and does these sales to advance the ecosystem, in the same sense that miners are using that mining equipment and power to further the Bitcoin network, even though they're not the Bitcoin foundation, they're using it to keep the network alive. I'm just thinking here as well while I'm talking. I do see some comparisons at least. Now, on founder sales, there is a widely held view that programmatic selling is most constructive, i.e. selling stays at a set rate consistently, like for example what Jed McCallum did. There's also a widely held view that over time, it's better to have widely held assets, so continued reduction of Ripple and founder holdings is likely constructive as well. This is just an argument for why they are actually selling their coins. You might see it as a positive thing that they're doing so. And there's actually something to be said about that as well. In theory, the fact that Satoshi Nakamoto holds 1 million Bitcoins is actually a really scary thing. If we were letting go of them piece by piece, we'd have a more even distribution, which is better. But also the fact that not one person can almost entirely wipe everything out with his majority share in the network is something that a lot of people are basically happy to hear about or think about or think with. There's also a widely held view that over time it's better to have widely blah blah blah. For example, when Bitcoin distributed through mining exceeded 50% of the 21 million limit years ago, that was considered constructive. Yeah, okay. I guess there's something to be said about it. Huh. So this is just, is it a person or who is this? So this person replied, I believe he is replying to this, right? Guys, I'm so bad at email stuff, but I'm assuming that Chris Larson is just replying to this as is an email thread, and so the lower we go, the earlier the emails come. So we just read the latest email of all of this. So the first initial question, I guess, let's quickly read this one, right? So Art, if I'm wrong on this, guys, please put it down below. But I believe on February 6th, we can also just look at the date. February 6th, 2017, and At the top here we have, okay, the 30th of March 2019, 30th of June. Very interesting how years went past in this conversation then, or am I stupid? No, years went past, okay. What was his initial reply? The same day. Like 12 hours later. Interesting. So let's quickly see that one. My apologies in advance for this odd email and for my written English. This is not my native language. So this is a person a couple years ago. Would like to say I'm an early investor in XRP, bought my stack in 2014, found out about Ripple, and was the only way I could invest in a project that was so and is so amazing. I think Ripple had only a dozen employees at the time, have been following Ripple ever since on a daily basis, always searching things about this stuff and wanting to learn more about the company and about XRP. Critical point here, the distinction between Ripple and XRP was not really made at that point because XRP was still called, not 100% sure on that, but the logo at least was still kind of the same everywhere. But a lot of people still called it Ripple at that point. Even right now, a lot of people still do. When I check my DMs, I think on a daily basis still people call it Ripple, even though it's XRP and Ripple, there's different things. Then again, XRP stands for X, which means there's no country modifier or unifier, whatever. Plus Ripple's XRPX for XBTC is again, XBT is you have BTC, which stands for Bitcoin. You have Bitcoin, and then you have XBT, which stands for X for no country, and then BT, which stands for Bitcoin. And with XRP, it's the X, and then the RP for Ripple. So just so you guys so we're clear, I understand why people are still calling it that way. Now, alright, let's quickly see. Have been following Ripple ever since on a daily basis, always searching things and wanting to learn more about the company, yada yada yada. Now I understand that by the time it was maybe a little overvalued, and right now after 3+ years it's completely undervalued. With all Ripple accomplished as a company, I guess he was pretty spot on though, guys. Because if you kind of look back, he said this in February 2017. A couple months later, if he just held on for that like year or so, 11 months, that was the craziest surge in terms of price. So with his undervalued call, he was pretty right. Just not, pretty fun to kind of think about that. I understand by the time we're a little overvalued right now, completely undervalued. With all Ripple accomplished as a company, it's incredible that, for example, ETH has a higher market cap than XRP and Ripple. Of course, that frustration gets on your nerves about that. Ripple made so much progress, still anyone can right now buy more XRP than me with what I invested in 2014, about 30,000 euros. That guy made a lot of bank. Nevertheless, I still think XRP still has its chance. Not writing to ask for investment advice of any kind, just understand your view on XRP. I was awake for hours during Jed's drama, the $1 million sell wall, and other times of high volatility. Now, volatility is dead. Every time there is some buying, some dozens of millions of XRP are transferred to a wallet, and that wallet kills any rally and keeps selling for weeks/months until like 0.005. You see, this is actually really funny. Isn't it interesting how like way back then that was the XP price and people were still like, oh, it's overvalued at some points. People were thinking that. Put it into contrast. You're same thing for Bitcoin. At some points, people thought that $1 per Bitcoin is a pretty high price. We're at $30 now. Well, that's way too high. Bitcoin should go back to $6. Can't understand why that happens, but it always happened to me the past few years. I understand that founders hold big amounts, and Ripple still holds 63 billion, a large supply out there, but fundamentals should prevail on top of all of this. But they don't. It's my perception. But fundamentals should prevail on top of all that is wrong about XRP, in my opinion. But they don't. It's my perception that Ripple made very little for XRP in the past years. Probably had some agreement with other entity to not do that, and couldn't. But now I get excited again with Miguel Villa's entry onto the team. Bitstamp announced that they will complete opposite happened. No volume of Bitstamp, but almost all the volume from RCL. is gone, but can't remember volumes like this on RCL, maybe in early 2014 only. When he announced that would drop from being Ripple CEO, that was the first red flag for me. Turned out not to be a real big thing. Always thought to myself that if you dropped from CEO or David Schwartz from chief cryptographer, which also happened, that would terminate my investment in XRP. But okay, he basically says hope it still has a chance. And then Chris Larson replied back and kind of explained, I guess, how we believe XRP is uniquely valuable in a new world we're entering as a bridge currency to initially eliminate its efficiencies in the way payment providers finance. Okay, so just from reading that for a couple of minutes here, it's interesting, but not completely understandable how this is going to be game changing. Depends, I guess. Because right here we can see again, sorry to send another email. It's interesting to me how Chris Larson, the CEO as of that point, now executive chairman of the board, has actually replied to this. Like, why? How? Why? How? Why? Interesting. But sorry to send you another email, but as I said, I'm on top of everything related to XRP and Ripple. And today XRP is going down 10%, it just fell off. I was digging around and saw who was selling. And he says, thank you. I'm looking into the news. Very interesting, this one. And the last one, I'm sorry if I'm taking too much time, by the way, guys. I'm just interested in all this, so I think a lot of you guys will be too, as we haven't gotten a lot of juice in a long time. So whenever I get some of the juice, I like to cover it in depth as well, just to see what's going on, you know. Founder and the seal. Hi everyone, this is let's quickly see, Brad Garlinghouse to Brad Garlinghouse. You know, I sometimes send emails to myself to remind me of how great I am. Okay, I see the BCC with Patrick. I guess it's just an email that went around, right? To everybody in the team, I guess, to everybody. I wanted to share a couple notable events that took place. This is the 6th. I'm sometimes also debating, right? Because in America, they use the month first and then the day the 2nd. So I'm assuming this is the 4th of June. But I think this becomes more interesting when we put it into perspective with what John Deaton has been sharing around in regards to the lineup of all the events in what the SEC has been going through. Basically, I think that would make things a lot more interesting. So he's calling out a couple of things about the price here. Okay, he's calling actually out a lot of different things. So you know what, guys? I'm so sorry that this video is not about a lot of different subjects, a lot of different topics. I had a little bit about John Deaton, for example. I had a couple of other small articles, but I do want to read this email. So if you're not interested, guys, just click off the video. But I'm going to read this as I do think it might, be interesting to some people. And make sure you press the like button if you enjoyed the video. Hi everyone. I wanted. Okay, interesting typo there. I wanted to share a couple of notable events that took place in May that symbolize how we're doing. First, we moved to a new headquarters in San Francisco, making a milestone in our maturation as a company. Our new home represents the fruits of our continued labor in shipping market leading products and driving real customer adoption. I hope you have a chance to visit us soon. In the meantime, see the pictures below. Secondly, just last week, more than 20 Ripplers, including me, had a very successful showing at Consensus, the biggest blockchain conference of the year. One of our company objectives was to build liquidity for the digital asset XRP so banks and payment providers can use it to significantly lower the cost of their cross-border payments. Our primary goal at Consensus was to advance deals with digital asset exchanges and payment providers that will build XRP liquidity and payment volume. Mission accomplished. Both leading into the event and coming out of the event, we continue to have great momentum in adding exchanges and payment service providers as Ripple partners. So, okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. I came away from this show not only feeling good about our deal progress, but also our market position, our leadership and maturity in shipping enterprise-ready products, signing commercial contracts with customers, and grounding XRP in a real use case made us stand out, head and shoulders above anyone else in the world of blockchain. We entered the show with the wind at our backs, having lined up a series of good news for XRP that'd make our conversations and consensus as productive as possible. We proactively addressed two key objections to XRP: publishing our plans to further decentralize the XRP ledger and announcing our commitment to lock up the lion's share of our XRP in a cryptographically secured escrow account by the end of 2017. So again, that's when Ripple went away from holding all the XP themselves to locking it up in a contract. Despite a proven track record of being good stewards of XRP and their holdings, of having so much of it, we continue to hear concerns in the market about that. I understand. Now, the bottom line is that we are committed to making XP the best digital asset out there for payments. While I can't predict the future market dynamics, this is a very exciting time for us at the market, is recognizing XP's real use case, liquidity for cross-border payments, and technical superiority compared to other digital assets. By the way, it's not my computer, it's literally a document, is very low quality. This recognition has translated into significant improvements in both the liquidity, trading volume, and price of XRP. We saw nearly $6 billion in trading volume in May alone, and XRP is now hovering around 30 cents. And approximately 500%, up almost 500% in the last month, and over 5,000% from the beginning of 2017. Again, as I said before, this guy, the previous one, he made a freaking bank in that year. That is interesting. He's been holding since 2014. If he invested 30,000, made some good money off of that. In fact, factoring in the $18 billion of XRP that we own, Ripple's worth more than all but 4 US startups: Uber, Airbnb, Palantir, and WeWork. Now, that makes things a little bit scary, actually, that he says that, but it doesn't really matter either. I'm not exactly 1,000% sure why they're trying to, why Ripple would try to hide this. And at the end of the day, it's just for fun that I'm covering this here as well. Because this is all from Ripple's side. It's not something that we can really use to say, "Ha, we gotcha," or anything like that. It's just to get a further understanding of what exactly went on over at the SEC. I guess in this case, only what went over at Ripple's side of things, and how, or whether or not they're lying to us, or whether or not something was not the truth. Because again, guys, even though I'm very excited about XP, as you guys know, we gotta keep things relative and in perspective, you know? If they're lying to us about some stuff, and if the SEC is right on some factors, I want to know, and I want to share that. In this case here, though, I'm seeing none of this stuff is actually detrimental or scary to to Ripple. Here, this entire part, the only thing I think is maybe bad is that he's talking about the price that is exciting, or how they planned to basically manipulate the crypto in that sense, or how they decided to make it more decentralized, which might be a key factor, or how they decided to lock it up. Not sure exactly why they want to hide it. Maybe because he made a spelling mistake at the start. I would want to hide those mistakes as well. Understandable. The second one, or I guess, depending on how you see it. No, the second one is still the second one because it's the middle one. So it's not depending on how you see it. The second one. The second email right here, email thread, I can see why he or they wanted to hide it. As partially he's explaining how them selling XRP is a good thing, and that the founders again are selling coins, and what their thoughts about that are and whatnot. So I can understand a little bit of a deeper narrative behind all of that and why they'd want to hide it. So I'm not so confused as to why this one is in here. But at the same time, it's pretty difficult for us to fetch any really important information out there, which is why I'm confused as to why they would eventually actually hide these things, right? But I'm assuming it's only about the founder sales part from latest email. And then our first email, or last, depending on how you view it, about him getting subpoenaed by Bragg House. We would have to look really far into this to see if there's anything interesting that's confusing about some of the allegations or whatever that would be in this email. Because at the end of the day, I'm not exactly sure why Bragg House being notified that he's going to be questioned is something worth hiding. Maybe it's about the date, maybe it's about something else. I'm also not sure exactly how many details are described in this specific letter, as I mostly thought it's just a question letter with like the legal jargon behind it. So I'm not really sure exactly why they'd want to hide this for. Because you might say, oh, but it's about these documents or so that are to be produced. Well, no, because here they're just asking Ripple to send over, or Bragg specifically, to send over some of these documents regarding his sales, for example. They're not actually attaching them here, or they haven't really become public or anything like that. So from my end, a little bit confused about this one as to why it's important for us to have it. Maybe it's for a fair notice, maybe we were saying, well, you were warned, about 6 months prior when we were investigating you, so you can't, quote, fair notice. But yeah, that's a difficult battle that we don't have any judgment on. I'm also not seeing him say anything. Brad and Larson sound really professional in these emails. I mean, they are professionals. It's a multi-billion-dollar company, even at that point. So, XP Crypto says Judge Torres or Net Burn is more of a friend towards Ripple. I think Torres has been the nicest one at this point. Here's another little quote, I guess, from David Swartz. I think we've been pretty clear that we are not making any promises to manage XP as a currency with any particular target value. The XP that OpenCoin holds, which was the previous company name, this is 2013, will be given away as OpenCoin thinks is appropriate to drive adoption, or sold as OpenCoin thinks is appropriate for its financial needs and interests. We absolutely make no promises or representations about the value of XRP to the world in general. And this is all the way back to 2013. And I don't believe they've ever done that though, right? I don't think so. I don't believe so. Let us quickly take a look at if Jeremy Hogan has said anything about it, or whether or not James Fillen, John Dean has said anything about this specific thread. I have John Dean open, but he was talking about something else. Let's quickly dive in for just a little second. And I'm sorry that the video takes so long. While we are waiting, never mind, this one is also loading. I'm also not sure why this sometimes happens. I'm thinking maybe my internet falls out for some reason. Okay, so we're here. So let's quickly see. No, he's not commented on it just quite yet. Maybe he's still sleeping, maybe something along those lines, or maybe he replied. Let's quickly check this out. Okay, he's definitely not sleeping, but there's definitely nothing to quickly find right here about the situation. Okay. So now we know. And the second one was, let's quickly check it out. John Dean right here. I've been predicting a lawsuit against one or more of the exchanges by mid-year. I wouldn't be surprised if all of them get sued by the SEC. People are still underestimating Gary Gensler's intent and motives related to crypto, in my opinion. I expect a ramp up in enforcement activity from the SEC regarding exchanges. It says here, peers or purse. We don't have a rule book in place for crypto. Which is getting a direct contradiction to the SEC's ethics, because it kind of looks as if they do with how Gary Gensler markets all this stuff. But I guess that's a story for a different day. I'll do it later today, don't worry about it. A commissioner with the US SEC has voiced concerns regarding a new proposal that could give the SEC, or securities regulator, new powers to regulate crypto platforms and decentralized finance protocols. We've talked about this, right? I'm assuming now that it's about Janet Yellen getting more power. But it could actually be from a different angle as well. As there right now have been a couple of bills that have been kind of sneakily put in that could give more power to either the SEC or to a couple of other people out there. But again, it kind of circles back to Hester Pierce, who's also warning about these things that are happening in the higher fields where they are trying to push them through. And I guess a direct contradiction to that, or a direct, how do you say this? A direct, do I have it open still, guys? I hope I do. I don't have it open anymore. Oh, too bad.
I'm your guy. I will keep you posted. I'm your advocate. I'll be back on a daily basis, usually multiple times per day, with these videos to keep you updated with everything going on. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't done so, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Feel free to share any of my videos with your friends, family, social media, or anybody who may care to listen. Thanks so much for your continued support. I'm always here for you. I want to help you through this time. So thank you so much for continuing to choose me. Enjoy your day, stay safe, and I'll catch you again probably in a couple hours. Thanks, everybody. See you later.